In 2015, Jen Walter was announced as the first female head coach of an NFL football team. Now think about this. It was only 5 years ago that a female head coach was announced of a football team. Now that's not to say that there's no other female head coaches elsewhere. But if you think back, women have had rights for how long? But why are we just now seeing the first female head coach of a professional sports team? I started out as a young female athlete. I played basketball, softball, soccer, all the sports. And every single one of my coaches was a male until I got to college. In college, I played basketball and I had a female trainer. This was the first time I had experienced a female coach, and it was unusual to me. So why is it that we as a society don't see female coaches that often? Is it because men and women don't get along? Is it because women don't think that they are fit for those roles? Why is it? Being an athlete is completely different than coaching athletes. After college, I coached female and male athletes, and I quickly learned the differences between males and females. So let's dig into this a little bit deeper. There should be more diversity across the board, but especially in professional sports, because these sports players, these athletes, are our younger generation's role models. And if they look up and they see that no female head coaches or no ethnic diversity in these sports, what are they to think? That they're not allowed to play these sports? Today I'm going to discuss with you why we don't see women in leadership positions, how society stereotypes gender and ethnicity in specific sports, and lastly, how to break this cycle. So let's start with women in leadership positions. SB Nation says, of the roughly 2,600 coaches in all professional sports, the number of women coaching isn't even a Congress-like 20%. It isn't even 1%. Of the 2,600 professional coaches, only 6 are female. So why is it? After a year in college, I became the head coach of males and females. Everyone seemed to judge me, but I didn't understand why. After a few months playing these sports, I realized you don't see women that often in these coaching positions. Men want to come over and take over whatever you're doing. The parents judge you because that's not what you typically see. There's a whole bunch of whys and how comes. But what we really need to dig into is why there are these stereotypes. Next, we move on to the specific stereotypes in professional sports. Have you seen the movie White Men Can't Jump? Isn't that a stereotype right there? Statistics.com says 29% of basketball players, male basketball players, are African American. Only 9% are Caucasian. But if we look into baseball, only 5% are African American and 18% are Caucasian. So why is it that we think of baseball and we think of white men, but when we think of basketball, we think of white men can't jump? Why are those stereotypes? Lastly, I'd like to talk how we as a society can create this change. Forbes wrote an article that states that NFL accepted the Rooney Rule, which requires teams to interview ethnic minority candidates for coaching and operation positions. Rules like this are great. They help start this change. But who is it that really can start this change? It's us, as a society, as a whole. We're the ones who need to start this change. I did it. I was a female coach of junior high school athletes. They looked up to me and they saw that they could do it. But us as a society needs to start this change. To summarize today's presentation, we talked about why we don't see women in leadership positions, the stereotypes people have in certain sports, and the steps to break this cycle. If we as a society want to see the diversity within all of these sports, and not even sports, anything in society, we have to empower the people to do this. Leadership knows no gender, athleticism knows no race. But people do. Let's help people achieve their goals and spread diversity across the community. Thank you.